Don't try to resist this metamorphosis. Right yourself with Iman Blak. Listen to Iman. Step aside, Slasia.
This is Marogini. Salut, messieurs, mesdames. Vous êtes en train d'écouter Métamorphosis avec Dr. Iman Blak.
From a cocoon to a butterfly, metamorphosis.
There is a land far, far away, where there's no night.
People the world into one vast organization to plant the banner of freedom on the great continent of Africa. If Europe is for Europeans, then Africa is for the black people of the world. Men and women as black as I am, and even more so, had believed themselves right under West Indian order of society. I was simply an impossible man to use openly the term Negro, yet everyone beneath his breath was calling the black man a nigger. I had to be staggered to please my friends and be one of the black whites of Jamaica and be reasonably prosperous, or come out openly and help improve and protect the integrity of the black millions and suffer. I decided to do the latter. There is no future for a people who deny their path. My foreparents, my grandparents, my mother and father did not suffer and die to give me an education to oppress, slight, or discourage my people. Whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million Negroes of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumptions of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, fuels of wood and drawers of water. I predicated my view of man and the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men regardless of dollar were created in the image of God.
emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, is live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, creating beauty and stimulating change from a constant supply of relevant knowledge and information.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Black metal cartoon, black metal video, we have Timbuktu, Alexandria, gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
I, son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
Keep listening.
There exists in nature a dynamic mental principle, a mind power, pervading all space, immanent in all things, manifesting in an infinite variety of forms, degrees, and phases. This energy, or force, or dynamic principle, is no respecter of persons. Its service, like that of the sun and rain and all natural forces, is open to all, just and unjust, good and bad, high and low, rich and poor. This force responds to the proper efforts, no matter by whom exerted, or for what purpose called into effect. But the proper effort must be exerted consciously or unconsciously, else there will be no operation of the force. Tinastilin, greetings. Eli, give thanks, giving praises for health, for certain amount of wiseness, and of course for an improvement in wealth. So hail all the ones and ones. This is the beginning of a strong, nothing to be weak about. And all energy is organized towards moving towards a strong end, as the weak will have to fall by the wayside. So this is the start of the program where your energies are required to generate material goods and services in the system. They call it being employed. Africans say that it's still a form of slavery. It's called wage slavery, but the English language is employed. So with what's going on now, of course, this is the final program for this month, and this is a program where the lines are open and ones can link in and address the issues that have been discussed or whatever it is you think is pertinent in this point in time. And again, the overseas number is 954-338-7973. And locally it's 453-1444. That's text or through directly to the phone lines. And as a people moving, whether we'll see ourselves as just parishioners, or whether we are regionalists, or whether we are Caribbean and island people, or North American residents, the whole thing is about what is the condition of the black people globally. And it's getting more intense. Ones and ones have to stop hiding their heads in the sand and begin to rise and look into the reality of the horizon of space and time and events. Things going down and things are happening and things are still not changing. So I kind of want to speak to something that is going on in Africa, particularly. Two events happening, one in the south, where there's a change in regime, and the other one happening more in the north, where there is a I don't want to call it a resurgence, but it's a serious exposure to show I and I that black people are still being sold practically. This is the fate of the black people who you hear them describing as migrants, who are losing them life by the hundreds and thousands trying to cross out of Africa, out of Libya. And the trauma and what's going on there is unbelievable. But within all of that, there's a condition that is worthy of exploring as black people. And so for I and I, it's a sort of awakening again to the reality of what we face versus what we hope and pray for. I think those are two different things, you know. So I've looked into the Libyan tragedy that's happening right now. We could also look into Yemen, you know, and see their issues there and the cholera and the destruction, because apparently there's a lot of destructive activity taking place around the globe. But you come now, like you have to decide where you're going to pay attention. And I can't be scattered. I'm looking at every news breaking as the most important thing and focus all our energies there, and then another news break, and I'll depend on one day again. We have to begin to settle down and let some of these things just go by and focus on what really essential to fundamental change, not just what is exciting and sensational. So the media that controls information have everybody jump in by what they spit out. And they just change the agenda and the narrative as it suits them. And everybody just follow. So Zimbabwe is a focal point. And everybody talking about that. Weeks ago it was Kim Jong-un and Trump in Southeast Asia. And then, you know, earlier than that it was what was happening in Russia. So black people now have to find a way to focus on what is relevant to black people's life. And we can't be everywhere about the place while other people organize themselves. And one of the things that is serious about what's happening in Libya is the whole role now of religion in that aspect of controlling and supporting slavery. Because these people claim that they are under the guidance of Allah. These are the Saudis who came and brought this Allah thing into Africa. And you see the side effects now of this religion. So I want those who are supporting and defending Islam as black man religion to tell you how can that religion promote and support what's happening in Saudi Arabia and Libya. And at the same time, what's the difference between that and the Christian religion that went into Africa directly in the 17th century? And therefore, we have to examine the Allah and the Jehovah concept and how have these two concepts over the last 2,000 years having a positive influence on black people. What is the result? Where is the evidence? Because you think by 2017 everybody have cell phone and IT and commercially traveling quicker, and yet on the continent at the physical level, black people still being sold. It's a serious thing that. With all of the religion and they just expose it into I and I, that is just really two forces that separate and divide black people. It's Islam and Christianity. It's those two things make Africa divide. It's that make black people basically war, particularly on the continent. Because one is supporting one force and the other force. So these two forces, Allah and Jehovah, them control black people and have them at war against each other. So something is amiss. And while the struggle goes on, there's an economic raping taking place. And we're not paying attention. So the metamorphosis will have a little bit more to say. And within the calling and thing, people may have their own perceptions as to what's happening. So we have to look into Africa, looking into the transition that's taking place in Zimbabwe. No blood has run. People complaining that all different angles, that is, you know, age-wise, they must leave and this. But understand basically that the Europeans still control Africa to a great extent. The British still control. They control the land. 90% is still owned by white people. So it's still far away from power for black people. Far, far away. Really, really far. And this original liberator was on the road. But I think problematics arise in leadership and power. And that's why I think societies need to have term limits. 2 terms. And then, you know, you pass on the baton. Otherwise the problem becomes, you know, serious. And you have to begin to use other type of forces to get out someone who once was a hero, for example. So we're going to continue to just look into Africa a little bit. And we'll keep coming locally now. I'm on a site of something, and I want some feed forward upon this. There's an element that has taken over youth culture in Jamaica. And not just youth culture now. It's all upon man too. And this is something that revolves around the smoking of ganja. Now, I can clearly remember that when the ancients, Rastaman them, were smoking ganja, ganja wasn't really classified as a weed. The man them saw ganja as a herb. Them saw ganja as medicine. And them respect the foundation of the ganja, which is really the plant. So the connection between the ancient Rastaman smoking ganja and his linking up himself with the earth and Mother Nature could have made the man call this thing sacred. So the plant then would really be viewed as a sacred plant and is a sacrament within the tradition of ancient Rastafari, ganja. Now, the society that opposed ganja from those days never recognized ganja under the heading of things I just mentioned. A medicine and a plant and a herb and a healer and the economics to it. They never spoke about it along those terms. Them say it's a weed. And if you check out what the concept of weed is, weed means a plant that has no value, something not good, something that stifle progress. So you want to weed out the things them, and we have these concepts about weeding out things and clearing up spaces. So the concept and the perception of this plant now society transform it into this weed thing. And the meditational value now start become diminished. But such it is. And over time now, what I realize in this modern time, this technological era that we're in, is that the youths them of today, in general, find that they're not smoking ganja as a herb or as a medicine of a plant that can give them a meditation inward. Them seem to be unable to smoke ganja now unless it mixes with something else. And here is where the problem is. And I think one of my colleagues here at Styles FM, Sister P, speaks that all the while that energy drinks are a killer. Well, I'm going to tell them what else is a killer now. It's a thing them what they're beginning to mix with the ganja. And this thing here now, them call it grabber. What I tell you, just listen to it name, grabber. No, an ancient man who deal with herb on a spiritual level now. Him no want nothing in a herb for grab him. No one to grab him in that. What used to happen one time when certain man couldn't take the articleness of the herb, they must try to put little tobacco in it. They tone it down. But where it reached now in 2017, it's gone beyond tobacco. And there's this thing now called grabber. That it stinks like alligator. It's highly chemicalized. And you begin to find youths now showing up in KPH now with side effects of this grabber thing. And this grabber thing now, it reached a point where now the youth them smoking more grabber now than ganja. To the point where you have enough people now can't smoke ganja now unless it's have grabber in it. So something addictive in that grabber thing. And if you check it out, it's pure chemicals. Yeah, pure chemicals, black like tar. And it creates the concept now of hot skull and hot head. So these invasions need to be addressed. And when you think about carefully now, how is it we're dealing with herb? How we're going to deal with this ganja? Because decriminalization of it without a certain type of overstanding is a very dangerous thing. Reach a point now where the youth them smoking almost straight grabber. And you see, if I check out what it is, what it is, where it's coming from, how does it add to your consciousness? Does it add to your inward ability to meditate? Or does it make you jump out of yourself and make your head feel hot? So, Metamorphosis, speaking to that locally, this thing called grabber, and this hot skull, and this mixing all sorts of things to the extent where things I call embalming fluid, overstand now being sprayed. So, in a way that eventually destroy the culture, So, article and original things is always on the demand. And Rastafari in his anciency always deal with article, original things. So, when you them stop and check themselves, and check the man them, and the man them who into this mixture, know what they're mixing, and realize, herb is a sacramental plant. It creates a vibration that links one with nature and identify the powers that are within that some choose to call God. So that's an issue. And as we go through, we'll see.
Hey, I'm listening to you talking about the grabber, and I'm totally with you. I'm talking about this thing. The weed
Yes.
is a spiritual thing, and it should not be used as a style. Plenty people, man, woman, boy, and girl, who smoke this thing, them take it for a joke. You see, the grabber is a poison. It smells like alligator, as you say. It really stinks. I don't know how people ingest them things.
Serious things, sister.
And you them nowadays just take it over. Some of them, you know what them do? Them are force grow themselves.
Say it again, what them doing?
Them are force grow themselves.
Force grow themselves.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Force ripe picnic.
Okay, I hear you. All right, okay. Them a force ripe.
Yes.
Yes.
When them do the grabber thing,
Yes.
them are say 15 and them look like 25. And get old quick. Just like a cigarette, but then mix with it, the weed, ganja at least, excuse me.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
see, and I always say, you smoke weed with fool, you become a fool. Because it's not just, you smoke the weed for a meditation,
Yeah.
most times.
Yeah.
And some just do it because of style, I have to rub something on my hand because,
Yes. Fashion, a kind of fashion.
yes, style.
Yes, yes.
And me just don't understand how people do it, but I wish there was someone who can tell these people
Yes.
that is not like that. And I appreciate you bringing out these things.
Well, all right. Thank you very much for the input. And we'll just keep listening, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Where you calling from?
Compound.
Comfort.
Hector's River.
Wow. All right. That's when we reach up there.
Yeah, man.
All right. Greetings.
Greetings, Mr. Black, and me again. And you know, I should really tell you.
Yeah.
So, people rather to believe, it's easier for people to believe a lie than to believe and to see the plain truth and believe it. You notice nowadays, nobody don't really see the truth in nothing at all. It's just blank madness going on this world right now. The weed is not harming anybody really. Is what you put in it.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that is the lie that they believe in the grabber, to send them at the grabber ward on a 4th year Morant Day.
Yes, yes, yes.
And them can't see it for them normal self because the devil have them weak.
Well, we can always talk about what is this devil thing now, or whether it's part of themselves weak, you know?
It's part of themselves.
Yeah, maybe it's part of themselves, you know, that needs strengthening in them understanding of what is it them taking in and them self-esteem, or them view themselves, or them view the company that them in, you know?
Yeah.
So,
some of them.
If you want to call all those things the devil, I can understand what you mean, you know? All right, give thanks.
Yeah, man.
All right. It's a long time man I smoke ganja, you know. Long time. Not just on Jamaica Island, India, China, different names. And there was never any sort of association between that and abnormal behavior. So ganja was never a contributor to any sort of social, you know, dislocation. Because it's medicine. Of course, you know, takes a proportion to reach a certain level of THC in the bloodstream and so on. But nobody ever overdosed on ganja yet. So the extreme that you get when you smoke and can't smoke no more, you're going to fall asleep. Boop. Yeah, man. You know, I get up and run up and down the place like a man who extreme on alcohol. And the other real, what we call drugs now, that make you hype up and come out of yourself and your brain feel hot and you want to jump out of your skin. That's not the real medicinal use of ganja. So it's something they're putting into it. And maybe that is part of the whole connected to the violence that we're having in a place like Jamaica. Yeah. We have to make the association, we have to make the connect dots, I and I self. That could be a significant contributor to the violence amongst the youths. It's something them ingesting. And if we don't want to say it's a fast food, then it's the drinks and the smoke. So I could check this thing, Russell. I could stop and check now, and the man who produce and distribute it. We know that there's an economics to it, you know. But if we check the reality of the life of the people and the race, you see it, and the prosperity and the posterity, we have to reflect on it. So the ganja reach a stage now where the state that used to oppress Rastaman for no possession sometime, they are battling to get it into a framework that they can get money from it. That is their struggle now. So them ease off the oppression to an extent on the Rastaman, but them don't ease off the oppression on the culture. So look what's going on, because there's no real good ganja around the place too tough, just so. And the price is getting outrageous. So the health value seems to be diminishing in terms of bringing man to consciousness and cultural awareness. Zimbabwe have its experience, and when the man was fighting against white domination and white brutality, it's enough ganja liberation fighting them used to smoke and listen to enough reggae music that Bob Marley's song could have played as a national anthem, Zimbabwe. So my engineer soon find it to make you hear it. You know, see it? Yes, Robert Nesta Marley. So we have to see what really are going. You know, and we have to understand the importance of what we really mean to ourselves as black people. Yeah, the importance of it. So Jamaica, as it is, it's like there's a war in the country. Based upon the amount of violence and the amount of deaths and the carnage. Particularly even a place like the Western section. One time Jamaica was strictly known as Western Kingston when you want to know about violence. West Kingston, and it just done this so. Now you have deep pockets of it in St. Catherine, deep pockets in Clarendon, deep pockets in Westmoreland, Montego Bay, you know, coming right around the coastline, and something into something. Is that ordinary behavior? It's not just scamming. I'm going to say, we stop and check out the grabber thing. Yeah, what is it I and I really ingesting as smoke? Particularly young brains, teenagers. What is it these youths are getting hooked on? And is it contributing to the mayhem that we experience in the society? It's strictly not ganja. It's ganja plus plus, plus, plus. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Greetings.
You see? Nobody now calling to talk about the thing, what is right and truth. None of them, and them sit down and listen, you know.
Well, there's a lot of people like to listen. I will give thanks that I have the strength to call.
Me
But I
have
think
the credit to me, you know. And when me not have the credit, me lie down and listen to. But I mean, when you talk about the truth, this is like the people are blind
take your
and
time.
deaf to certain things. Them don't want to hear the truth. I tell you.
All right.
Excuse me,
Them listening, no, not true. sort out and find out who are the real revolutionaries. Realize that the system that Robert Mugabe fought against still exists. Nothing has changed because Britain still reigns supreme. Coming through. Greetings.
Blessed love is the Imperial Majesty named Dr. Iman Blak.
Rastafari.
Yeah, man. Give praise this one more night on the journey again.
See there?
Yeah, man. I'm on the topic them here, the Empress calling and I said people this and I say thing I ask because Portland is a wide range and Jamaica is a wide range, the world is a wide range.
True.
So I don't know where I go on, but you hear something I'm grabbing, not true?
Yeah.
Alright. Look on it now. I go across here the city more time and my little virgin beg me buy some ice tea because them say the hottest thing around town.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I find out that when the man is smoke it, and after the man is smoke the grab a thing, when you look it's a bag juice or fish a bun and bull at the run too.
Okay.
So when you look on them sweetness, what you think? Them sweetness get to the man and brains and kill out the thinking out of the man and brains and stuff.
Serious thing. Serious thing.
If I push grab at a rat, you know. I grab it too well, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Not too?
You grab in, yeah, grab.
Perspective.
Yes.
So you find say even the youth them kind of them kind of depend on eye move at the moment for stop.
Yes.
So I even depend at home to catch up even last week Sunday night and I hear the Empress in the party I say, right now the young youth them not got no catal in their homework. It's because through the grabber thing, as they smoke the grabber, them drop asleep. Them just look where them can manage. You understand?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yes, I.
But if from the south Rasta, the grabber thing blight to them brains because when I see the people them open the barrel with the grabber, the center it alone while they carry.
Yeah, man. That's a serious thing.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, man. Ring.
I go in at the market in Rasta and I see it, you know, so by the time you look for it like a sugar water to up and it's up in Rasta.
Yes.
You see what I say?
Yes.
So eventually I'm the youth them have to think up because when them something they grab up them brains, them 2 million brain cell and lock it.
Yeah, man, lock it up. Lock it up.
Lock it up first time, you see?
Yes.
When I even get a tray at it, I said, no one see whether I grab up, you know, I believe if the whole game 18, me say nothing good now.
Yeah, man, not can't good na that. Not can't good na that.
When I tell when my people them used to home grow them own a tobacco, we have tobacco now.
Different thing.
And when I smoke the tobacco, I never feel them with it.
True.
I could even just build a tobacco stiff and just smoke it, and just like it and buy a smoke here. No chemical.
Yeah, that no. A pure tar the youth them are taking, you know.
Yes, I the youth them are taking source of disease in them brain.
Yes, yeah. And I'll get to the ones out there, just assist the program by doing the correction, you know. Bring awareness to the youth them and hold on for the grab for the money. Don't just grab after money, so no. Because think about how we can grab up own.
Grab up knowledge.
Yeah, we can grab up some knowledge, just that. Serious thing.
And for blackness, you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Zimbabwe, you know, we are going down there with Mr. Mugabe. Well, if I see plus Mr. Mugabe, a wicked man, but when I look on it, Mr. Mugabe was the best ruler of his young as Zimbabwe.
I tell you see what basic problem where the man them who run the world never like is that himself take back the land from the white people them.
Last year.
And from him decide that, them have him off.
And that is the main perspective of our black people, because if we don't got land, we don't got nothing.
Yeah.
You don't know, if all the Uncle Sacks them got it, we don't got nothing at all.
Serious thing.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I.
Believe me, Rasta John, we kind of terrible for the black people, them still about who they want to still a fight for each other, because you as a warrior out there, because even yesterday morning I was listening to even Kabu. And when I hear the Kabu play a little thing, we are going with the slavery down
in Libya there.
In Libya there. I have to really think I want to be. I said, John, then them something that really are going against I black people.
Right us up on the earth side speed. Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
We have to go open our eye. If we don't open our eye, something can open it free.
Well, I don't know. We have to work on ourselves. I can't even depend on nothing else right now. We have to work on ourselves, you know.
Simple, and we have to groom especially youth them come right now. We have to groom them and make them see what it is like.
Truly.
We have to teach them, and we have to right now and for the whole world. What if people might not know about it and might just sit down and listen to you every morning? But even last week, I even sit down and when I couldn't get you because I overwork, and as a farmer, I overwork, so I have to get a little nap, and I was listening to you and just gone. You know, but I said, I know that this week is my week, they just bring it to the eye. You see what I'm saying?
I hear me, brother. Give thanks for the link, you know?
Yeah, man, just keep up the work, and then I jungle, and I will come check you with a little package one at a time, you know, Rasta. Go down next week, Monday night, when you come in the studio down there, you know, Rasta.
All right.
I come in a very deal, that's what I call for. I got some little you cross where the road, you know, cross where the grass in my village, we sit down every morning like Misha and the crew, them over there, Dandy and the crew, them, you understand?
Very deal.
But he's a man who will love the grabber too, you know. He's a man who will love the grabber. Can't do without them grabber and everyone moving around.
Well, let that know. Let me need some reasoning as to why is it that is needed, you know. How does it become a need? Why is it them need it? You know, what else them could be doing with them energy?
But the chemical in them, they put the ketchup in there, you know, ketchup where them put in there, you know.
I tell you.
It's a ketchup where them put in there for the brains. And
yes.
anytime you captivate the two, can't put the 2 million blends in our head.
And that may I say, we have to try and make them see well am I taking, you know. We have to try and make them see it clearer.
Right, sir. That's where you're going with an emperor right now. That is a great power to I and I. See where I
all right. One. We're going to spread it little by little.
I just Rastafari, you know, thing.
Yes, my brother.
I'm just stay on the journey, you know, and bless up all the warriors, them out there, fight it for your cause, you know, because they are ready to turn off and I spaceship anytime they are ready, you know.
See there, give thanks.
So I just pause here.
As is, powers to there, yes, sir.
And they are going out one, you know, still not taking the eye, still a strong one, natural, because when you look the way them are going a 6 weeks time now, in a 3 time a 6 months.
All right.
So you see everything kind of get to show down to a little thing, you see?
See. All right.
Rastafari.
Yes, I.
Rastafari.
This is Styles FM.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
We're rolling this time.
When I see my friend. New Beginning Entertainment in association with Ray and Nephew and Red Stripe presents Zone Warrior 15th anniversary, Saturday, December 2nd, 2017. Featuring Zone Warrior, Recreation Sound, Next International, King Shine, Ninja Ears, and Black Venom. Place to be at the New Beginning Entertainment Center, Eric Castle, St. Thomas. Sponsors: Boom Energy Drink, Dragon, and Water. Admission $2.99. Drink responsibly.
DIB Block Factory and Hardware presents their massive paint sale happening right now at all 3 locations. Up to 25% off some paints. Paints as low as $1,165. Can you believe it? In this time, DIB massive paint sale is on at all 3 locations. 7 Thompson Avenue, Buff Bay, Main Street, St. Margaret's Bay, and 44 William Street, Port Antonio. DIB massive paint sale. Come now on until December 31. The big paint sale. Your foundation starts with us. DIB Block Factory and Hardware. 3 days of fun, fest, and food. 4 exciting parties. It's the Portland Paradise Weekend, December 1 through to December 3. Come enjoy paradise at the Portland Paradise Weekend. Friday, December 1, the welcome party is Fire and Ice, Errol Flynn Marina, Port Antonio. Saturday, December 2, the breakfast party's on, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Summit, it's at Seaview Villa. You can't afford to miss it. Then, in the evening time, in Fusion, Port Antonio Marina, the big, all-white, all-inclusive frosted Sunday, December 3, featuring Chris Martin. It's at Frenchman's Cove, Port Antonio. You can't afford to miss it. It's Portland's Paradise Weekend, Friday, December 1 to Sunday, December 3.
There's a place we can go.
Tickets for Portland Paradise Weekend are available at Unique Travel Farming Building, Royal Mall, Total Gas Station, Port Antonio, and Hotel Timbambo.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
Listen to me, I'm infant schools, primary schools, high schools, all across Portland. It's time for Rally of the DAs. Yes, Rally of the District Associations. This Wednesday, November 29, 2017, at the Port Antonio High School, starting at 5 p.m. Students, teachers, parents, enjoy performances from the 4 DAs, Rio Grande, East Portland, St. George's, and the Port Antonio DA. Let's do our part and make DA Rally 2017 a success. It promises to be an evening of fun and excitement.
That's just the way he races, Cali girl.
The numbers, if you want to make a link and make an input to the Metamorphosis, 954-338-7973 if you're off the island, 954-338-7973, and if you're coming through locally, it's 453-1444. You can use that other text line. There's no really calls coming in on the WhatsApp. We're not able to take any calls on the WhatsApp, but we can read the messages. So yes, so still looking at what's happening into Africa and what's happening here, and the bloodletting continues in the country, and the bloodletting is grounded in a whole heap of things, grounded in economics and politics, and grounded in a kind of lack of conception of self as to who the I and I really is. So the identity crisis now adds to the whole domestic drama. I would say that trying to negotiate whether within the identity of the individuals here, whether the people here are Africans, whether they are Jamaicans, whether they are Negroes, you know, all sorts of identity clashes. And when we become into the social framework now, people identifying themselves as socialists and labor right, and within the religious context, you know, 15 to 20 different denominations. So the identity concept kind of heavily split up. But I would like to recommend that in order to reconfigure ourselves as individuals first, we have to draw the basics of identity, which is race and gender and spirit, your name. So we always speak within the Metamorphosis of the importance of race. And the whole experience of the African race within the last 2,000 years shows certain things that are not debatable. Because we have 2,000 years to show as the arena of experience. And in those 2,000 years, African people, the black people of the continent of Akibu land, over the last 2,000 years, have been exposed to two major religious injections in the people. Major injection. And why I have to look at it from that perspective now is that, and I've always been an impression that the 1800s represented the end of a brutal period when Europeans had African people on their knees over about 200 or 300 years of enslavement and barbarity. And I thought that the 1800s meant a sort of ending of that meditation, and there was decolonization, and there was a move towards people, African nations becoming independent, and this whole thing looking all nice and rosy. And to really realize that in 2017, on the African continent today, there is still a very sick type of slavery amongst black people taking place. And it's not just amongst black people now, because we have to look into who are these black people and realize that within those concept of black people now, there are a set of people who call themselves the Arabs. And the Arabs don't see themselves as Africans in the first place. They see themselves as Arabs. But they have been colonizers of Africa for quite a number of years. And they were actually the first alien force to invade Africa, the Arabs. But the Western education don't speak much of them because they don't want to give them any glory. They have to glorify their own colonizers, European colonizers. But we have to be very critical now when we're trying to understand our dilemma globally. Why everywhere in the world, black people at the bottom of the ladder. Not only at the bottom, being trampled upon, feet being wiped on, and people wipe foot and way and no regard, and just how can we shake that? What is the source of that? And so we have to look into the genesis of our captivity. Our first set of captors were not Europeans. Our first set of captors were not the Christians. The first set of captors were the Arabs. And it's a very important thing to know because they spend a lot of time in Africa. And they're still there to the point where when those teams that Arabs are dominant in go to the World Cup and qualify, they don't even call them African teams, they say it's Arab nations. So the Arab is a different entity now from the African. And them come with a mentality to control and conquer Africa. And he came with his religion too. And the religion of the Arab was Islam. So the first capturer, the first conqueror of Africans and first force to drive out and begin to subdue African traditions and religions was Islam. And them come with Muhammad and Allah. So that was the dominant force. Allah is one God, and there's no other one but Allah. And that was the ideology. And them continue with that and use that to suppress now and dominate black people in Africa. Castrate a whole heap of people, black people, thousands of black people end up in slavery. Iman thought that had come to a close, but it is still going on in 2017. So I'm not even looking at what they're doing now. I'm looking at the force that they're bringing, the ideological force, which is Allah and Muhammad, what them call Islam. And how so many black people have taken on Islamic names, Arabic names, and feel as though they are liberated. It's no different than when the Arabs were overrun and Rome entered. Rome conquered Egypt, and the Christian thing became the new force. They came now with their one God. Their one God never named Allah. Their one God did name Jehovah. And then put black people again under the one God, Jehovah, but one half was still under Allah. So this is why most of the world today, we see black people in a clash. It's between Islams and Christians. It's Allah versus Jehovah. And so them organize and set we up. And while we fight over these two ideologies, the European control the land, we control the resources. And we fight whether the Christian Bible is more righteous than the Quran. And who is closer to God? And who is the son and who is not the son, and who is the prophet and who is not the prophet. And African black people, as far as I can see, still at the bottom of the rung. So slavery going on, and Allah exists in the land, in the mind of Muslims. So how is it Allah supporting Africans still in slavery? And we, we could wake up ourselves. If we wake up ourselves as a people, because the slumber is deep. Over 2,000 years, slumbering under two one gods. Because Allah is one God, and Jehovah is one God, yet two of them tell us that there is only one God. So how it go? How it go? Metamorphosis. dynamic mental principle, a mind power, pervading all space, immanent in all things, manifesting in an infinite variety of forms, degrees, and phases. Mind power is an actual living force. It is a force that makes plants grow and animal bodies grow, and which enables all living things to move and act. Mind power. It is a force which enables the growing mushroom to raise up the slabs of paving stone, or causes the roots of a tree to split open the great boulders, into the crevices of which they have crept. Mind power is not an abstraction or speculative nothing. It is an existent, living, mental, acting force, manifesting sometimes with an appalling power and sometimes with a delicate, subtle touch that is almost imperceptible, but which accomplishes its purpose. Mind power is an actual living force.
We've been down in the valley much too long. We've been down in a poverty oh so long, yeah. We've been down in captivity much too long. We've been down.
So I get the healing from J. Dotty in Atlanta. We're healing up all the people in Atlanta. That is Georgia also. That's the state of Georgia, Atlanta. Something like that. Yes. So all the people in that particular state of the United States of anxiety. Stay strong. Hold your meditation and don't be disturbed by trumpets. There's something that is giving Iman serious concern. And it take me a while to really arrive at this point in observation. And it's something I've been observing now for a few years while I'm on this rock. I know from the time I hear about the population of Jamaica, I have never heard this number rise above 3 million, too tough. It's always 2 point something, 2.9, like we can't get to 3 million, and then sometimes you hear 3.1 million, but it's always around 3 million. So for whatever reasons, that is the general figure. But I have been listening to the television, watching TV of late, and I realizing that there's a thing on the TV called missing persons. And it just dawned on me that, but a long time, this particular thing on TV, you know, missing people. And when I check it one night and I check it the next night, I say, you know something? Let me give this thing a little thought. This whole idea of people in Jamaica missing and the size of the island. And do we really get a report whether these people are found? And if not, then where the people them there, where them gone? I'm going to start looking over a number of years and start do some anecdotal mathematics. I'm about to do the real research to get some real figures. And maybe those who are closer to the data can really assist. Like find out how many people really missing in Jamaica for a year. Them always I give you the death count. How many people die by the gun. And I really would love a figure now as to how many people have been missing each year. Because it have to be more than just missing. Yeah, man, I'll get away now where I put a deeper scrutiny upon these number of missing people in Jamaica. Where them is. Where do they turn up? And if they're missing, where them gone? So, gone can mean them dead. Gone can mean them get abducted and alive somewhere. Gone can mean them get kidnapped and alive somewhere or dead somewhere. So I just start check a little bit critical now and cynical upon the missing persons. And, you know, this might sound way out now, you know. But how many people really think there is such a thing called UFOs, unidentified flying objects? What do you think? Metamorphosis. Greetings.
Greetings, Doctor.
Yes, I
want to tell you something about some of those missing people.
All right.
Doctor, if you go out to Afrika school gate a day at time,
yeah,
and just sit down when nobody see you.
You have hello. You have your radio on? You have to turn down your radio.
All right.
There's a feedback.
Oh my. You see the big man there.
No, you have to turn your radio down or even off, and just listen to me on your phone.
Yeah, man, me hear you now.
All right. Say what you're saying about Happy Grove now at the gate.
If you go out at the gate and you see the big man them just look like a work them ago. Yeah. Well dressed, you know, some of them brown, some of them black, some of them pink.
Yeah.
And them a wait on the little 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, and we come home from school. Sometimes you see them a wander all around through the bush.
So what? So what you say? So these children don't go home after school?
Some of them not go home. Some of them I don't have them. Sometimes I say I wonder where the mother could have there.
But I don't think these are the children. But I don't think these are children that report as missing on the television.
But some of them do missing for days. I used to police and the mother sometime, or some police are looking for some pitney.
So what you're saying is that sometimes they're missing for a few days. Come again.
The prayers, them where they at the school gate, them was like a work, them a go.
Okay.
At the time. At school let over, you know, them reach before school let over.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you now, is this really contributing to people being missing? Or this is just about delinquency?
Some of the population, them were missing. Some of them in it. So them go, and some of these kids really go away with these men.
You mean, when you say go away, you mean off the island?
No, go to them yard and lock up for days.
Yeah, but I'm sure after a week. And so the point is now, if these children return home, we don't get any information from the law enforcement that those people were found. In other words, now all we always hear about is who's missing.
Mm-hmm.
So if your case is it's such a case where the child run away for 3-4 days and then go back home, and I need to know then that is no longer a missing child. You understand?
Yes, same so. I understand.
Yeah, because I'm saying that is the problem. The numbers just keep growing, and you're wondering where all of these missing people are.
Mm-hmm.
But give thanks for the connection, because you're making a valid point, you know?
Yeah, man.
Or for watch those predators. Yeah. So, hear me now on the missing things now. Because the missing now, the caller just mentioned a temporary situation where some of the girls are, maybe even the young boys, them too, missing for a few days and them gone, and them look a hiatus or whatever it value and worth, and after 3, 4, 5 days them return home. Now if that happens, that child information should be reported to the authorities. That this is no longer a missing child, the child has been found and you know, we should even be informed through the media that this child is no longer missing, such and such child. But over the years, never hear about who has been found, always about the missing. So hear me now. I may get cynical now, I may get a kind of way. You see, in North America, when these things take place, and people are missing, certain amount of possibilities come to the front, And in Jamaica, there is one possibility that arises in America that we don't seem to entertain very much here. We know about the kidnapping and the child trafficking. We don't know if the children are being trafficked, sold as slaves and sent abroad. But there's a thing called abduction. And in the United States now, there have been numerous reports of people who claim that they have been abducted by UFOs. No, I don't even want to connect that to Jamaica, but what I really want to ask my listeners is that what do I them think about the existence of UFOs? UFOs are what them call unidentified flying objects. Objects that pass through the atmosphere, sometimes at high speed. And these things have been observed not just in modern times, but also in ancient times. So may I ask the imagination now of my listeners, what do I them think about flying objects from other dimensions? Are these things real? Even within Christian scripture, you hear about chariots with fire. So how we think within our imagination now, is it possible that there are vessels that fly for thousands of years and have been flying, coming from other spaces, other sides of the universe? Or are we limited to just seeing ourselves as coming out of a garden? So may I ask now about the chariots of the gods and the images now that have been found in even Egyptian temples of spacecraft. When we talk about space travel now, do black people see themselves within space travel? You ever imagine that some of those vehicles that are unidentified coming from distant places, that black people could be in there? That would be a very serious revelation. It would change the whole dimension of thinking about black man being earthbound and terrestrial. So we are open the thoughts, or explore the thinking. Are there UFOs? Are there flying objects from unidentified places? And why is it the Earthlings, Europeans in particularly, spending so much research themselves trying to travel to those distant places? When as a youth you used to Mars, you used to have some little green man, but so there was some little black man. They wouldn't want to describe them as little black people. And they're telling us at the same time that we are slaves on the earth. So if we examine whole heap of things and we throw it in the out, are there unidentified flying objects? Are there other civilizations that have access to the earth, that have been here before, that the Dogon call their ancestors? Can we reconnect and find our true African black consciousness? Metamorphosis. Okay, so I get a text that said no UFO, it's not true. All right, so look at the terms, flying object, unidentified. So if I begin to explore how long is it now that you think flying has been taking place? You think flying is just Europeans are the first set of people to go through the air? What about the Mayas? What about the ancient cultures of Atlantis? What about the ancient cultures of Egypt? So flying objects is the thing we have to confront first. So once we talk about flying objects now, the matter of whether we can identify them. Metamorphosis.
Yes, doctor, one more time again. I jam this again. Yes, sir. You see, for earth, all things are possible. You hear what I say, sir?
All right.
All things are possible. I'm from black man, no say the poor is from black man, you know, so anything is possible, you know, Rasta. We black people like things impossible, you know.
That's true.
So all things are possible, but on the other now, me I consider if them do like down in Libya, do the slave trade in Jamaica, said they are selling people and said we are too.
All right. You see it now, you bring it home now?
So I don't know.
Yes, serious thing.
So we have to look on it anyway because it is a triangle and the triangle got many shapes, you know. See?
Yes,
so we have to look on it many different perspectives.
And as I speak of that now, it just comes to me that them have a thing called trading organs, you know.
I sit down and anything and I will look on the nature and I say anything possible, you know.
Yes.
Everything is possible, you know.
Yes, serious time.
We were the first creation, you know. We got the power, you know, and we met the Caucasian take away the most I power.
Yeah, that's true.
So anything possible again, you know, so if we rise again, we can see say anything is
everything
possible.
can go on again.
You see why I say?
Yes, Jamal.
We just have to look on the other way and I say, boy, some slave trade can't go on in Jamaica to what we don't know nothing about.
Yes.
That's what I say, because I don't in Rio Grande Valley as a Rasta, and I know, you know, you are taking your teaching, you know, because right now you are a warrior, you know, Rasta, so I have to listen to your queen, you know. The more I understand, the more I learn, you know.
As is.
Yeah, man, I just want this again, Rasta.
Aye, all Rio Grande man then, one big up. As is.
Rastafari.
So we're continuing this little exploration into this thing called UFOs, because I think most black people afraid of the whole concept. Afraid of it. So afraid of it in that them things say, some people think say white people come from outer space. Hey, but I think no. So that means them coming from a system more superior than what we have here, while we just here as a people trying to understand what's out there. So the concept of space, remember blackness, you know. The vastness of the cosmos. The majority of it is not light, you know. The vast majority is blackness. And just look out. Don't let the sun fool you by day. Look out by night. And you see the power of the blackness. So within galaxies and within solar systems, we can limit our thinking that this is the center of the universe. This is one solar system with one sun out of billions of suns and billions of galaxies. So when we look at the volume that is beyond counting, then the brain cells must expand themselves and adjust to the new way of thinking. So we're saying, no, the concept of flying objects is not a modern concept. But North African people over the last 2,000 years think says European invent flying through the Wright brothers. And them invent plane and all them things there, but not go so. Not go so. So if they have even found small planes, toy-like size planes in ancient Egyptian coffins. The Chinaman had a very good concept of how to travel through the air. And the ancient Middle American Mayas, they have their airfields that you can only observe from the sky. So it's I and I to begin to break out of this locked into construction of being earthbound. And everything comes from the earth. And all things begin from the earth. It's one book cause that. It's one book. It's one book holding on to for 2,000 years that we think can explain our African history. That book doesn't explain African history. So the questions are there. Unidentified objects that can fly. Intelligences that come from other systems. So the Dogons of West Africa spoke about Sirius, the star system, and spoke about the constellation Orion. It make I and I look like a dwarf within our consciousness. Because the consciousness of the African for the last 2,000 years is limited to a beginning in a garden. And it's a very serious enslavement. And both one gods, Allah and Yahweh, they both control the one garden. They both have a start in the same one garden. So somebody constructed that story. People, brains, constructed that story. And I must realize it is a tale. And we rather deal with the beginning of African civilization more than a tale. Metamorphosis. Four 5-3-1-4-4-4. That is the number to call to get yourselves heard on the Metamorphosis. Things of thought, things of mental transformation, things that challenge your fears, and that these fears are grounded in your ideas. And if you're living in fear, and we know that ideas rule the mind, then you are being ruled by fear. So it's 954-338-7973. Overseas. Local 845-31444. So we touched upon the grabber. And we're still dealing with Africa, Libya, and Zimbabwe, and the struggle within the southern part of Africa. We were deceived with Mandela. The British again gave us Mandela. And Mandela was used to navigate a sort of peaceful solution to the violence that was on the horizon, because when you take away a man's land, you violate him. You violate the lineage, you violate him clan. And up to today, the struggle is over for land. It's no different in Jamaica. There is no land for the Africans. So everybody pile up in a town and pack up in a tenement yards because there's no land. The land is controlled by institutions that are at the front of the slavery. The church and the state and the rich planter class. They control all the land. And so you can't get any commitment or loyalty from a population when they're not connected to the land. And they don't want to be connected through slavery and labor. That was a precondition to emancipation. Africans' connection to the land was only through enslavement. Maybe why there's a sort of backlash today why enough of our children hate the concept of working on the land. But with proper knowledge, we realize that if we work on the land and be able to control the resources, then it's not a problem. But if you work on the land and all the resources are extracted out and you get none, then that's not any motivation. So people here need to have access to the land. And then people would have a commitment to the country. So any way you look at it, land is the basis of power. And the Europeans and the Arabs have organized to control the land. So that's why up to today, Christians and Arabs and Muslims are at war from the days of the Crusades. It's two forces fighting to control of the land. And they're controlling the African lands. The lands that have the resources. It's the same forces disconnect places like where Iran is and Saudi Arabia and call those places Middle East. Those are lands of Africa. It's just a canal separate the land masses. So it's an organized force. It's an organized force combination between Allah and Jehovah, between Allah and Yahweh, to hold black people and to divide them into two groups. One group called is Muslim and one group called Christian. And then the Christian group is divided into further subsections. And likewise, so it is with Muslim. You have the Sunni and the Shiites. And they have all different type of little denominations. It's the same thing happening in the Christian thing too. And them all war against each other. And those who control Those who control Allah and control Yahweh and Jehovah, they have the wealth and the military. But that's a real power. The power in every state rests not in the politicians, but it rests in those who control the military. And it's evident in a place like Zimbabwe that is the military have to come in and create the atmosphere for this smooth or non-violent transition of power. So we in Jamaica, and we're talking about we want to get rid of the Queen. The man in the army is holding the Queen here as well. So what will be the army's position when the people say they want the Queen to go? It's serious. It's just whoop talk. What is more tangible and practical is a campaign against the office of the Governor General. But that office could be abolished. Metamorphosis.
Connor.
On the hill up Shulet from Barracks, that is down in western Portland. That's where I go, our País. Because they give him thumb look a while ago. Hope so. All right. I'm going to go to them place there now. Long time I don't go to promote a party. Yeah, so, and Javine, and I'm saying UFO mean unidentified federal officials. All right. Yellow Prostris. All right. And I says Aisha. Yes, we see your thing. And we see D is locked in. And we hear that blessed love and so on. All right. So that is the WhatsApp. I really want to get this thing into our own brains now, you know. This thing called what the Europeans call UFOs, you know. And the original, they used to call them flying saucers, based upon reports that they used to get. But you know, this phenomenon has been under research scientifically for a very long time. There's a site in America called, I think it's in Vegas, Roswell 51, where there was a reported finding of a vessel that had crashed on the Earth, and they identified the vessel as coming from a different system, the Americans, and then lock off the zone, of course, and made it an area of research. There was even a project called Project Blue Book, and the CIA denied that this thing existed and all sort of hide and seek and cover up. So that was really sort of a beginning of this investigation into extraterrestrial beings and vehicles and so on. So between the United States and the Russians and their Air Force pilots and astronauts, there's enough things them man say that them can't tell you, you know, because we just run up and down and just jump out of our skin, you know. There's enough things them man say and know in them travels. Some of us are even contesting whether the man them travel go anywhere. But don't be naive to space research and think it's a region of thought controlled by Europeans. It's something that they are decoding, something that they are breaking down information that they have found written in certain tablets and certain places throughout the earth. So it's not original necessarily information, you know, it's things they're working on. And these things have been laid down. But I think that because we come from a garden in Eden, everything begins there. So because there's no such information about science and research that the Europeans want us to see, we can't think outside of the book of Genesis. Yet there are sort of allusions and the sort of language, figure of speech that speaks to things that are flying. Oh, Israel was led out by something that was in the sky by night and a cloud by day. All sort of talk that takes you off of the planet Earth and realize that there is capacity to travel through space. So Africans had that down a long time. Ancient African cultures. And if you go beyond even the continent of Ethiopia itself, and you begin to speak about the continent of Mu and the culture of the Atlanteans, space travel was a norm. So I overwhelmed and trying to deny. Can we deny that there is a space station 220 miles above that travels the Earth, the circumference of the Earth, every 90 minutes? That's been there for almost 20 years. So research into astronomy is not a forte of Europeans. The greatest astronomers upon which all European astronomy is built were Africans out of Mesopotamia. So because we have been so disconnected from astronomy, I mean, I'm talking about astrology and over sign business and who born in which sign and who compatible. And it's all that is a weakness, because there are really 13 months, but them give you 12 signs. So something is amiss. So we can apply with consciousness to zodiac that have 12 signs. There are 13 months. So 52 weeks make a month. 52 weeks make a year. And 4 weeks make a month. And 4 into 52 give you 13. It's simple mathematics. 52 weeks make 1 year. And 4 weeks make 1 month. And 4 into 52 is 13. So any kind of zodiac must have 13 signs. That's the way it was in anciency, before the Europeans come and fiddle and faddle and have us all confused mentally. There is nothing without life in the universe. Nothing lifeless, there or anywhere. The universe is alive and has mind and mind power in every part and particle of itself.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
soul fans of Styles FM, Black Pearl,
and Chungy are at it again. Soul Showdown
on the Caravan of Love
from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Wednesday,
starting September 6th through to November.
This showdown is sponsored by the Law Office of Merritt J. DeMar, Bronx, New York,
Dayton's Car Wash, Golden Grove, St. Thomas,
Ultimate Grill, Eat Right, Taste Right, Feel Right, located at 1345 East Gun Hill Road, Bronx, New York, and Partopia Party Rentals, located in the Bronx, New York. Partopia, we make renting easy.
Let's get ready to rumble!
For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoothic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
Shop at DIB and save big during our pre-Christmas sale, November 27th to December 2nd, 2017. Come in and get all your building and hardware supplies, paints, windows, tiles, lumber, steel, cement, concrete blocks, and much more at low prices for the season. Up to 50% off selected items. We at DIB are waiting to serve you at any of our 3 locations: 44 William Street, Port Antonio, 993-4415. Wider St. Margaret's Bay, 913-3530. Or 7 Thompson Avenue, Buff Bay, 913-6464. DIB Block Factory and Hardware Supply.
events are not needed. And it's an important point in time now that the women wake up out of them slumber and stop exposing our children to these false celebrations. Tell me about it, just like a picnic business. You know, somewhere at some point in time, the children have to learn that this thing called Christmas is an alien thing. It's an alien thing to black people. We're celebrating a man who themselves live in the North Pole and comes through the sky on a reindeer. And he has elves that he doesn't pay. So the slave owner, symbolic slave owner now, who comes with gifts out of the sky. This is the first one we introduced to before them tell us about the Jesus that will come out of the sky. We have one coming out of the sky named Santa. And Santa doesn't have a woman. There's no Mrs. Claus. So we don't know what is his sexual orientation, because he don't see it directed towards any females. So there's a one man with a whole like an elf. And you see the imagery that it creates. Pure man. We don't even know if they're in the female elves. What do you call them? Elvets? So the whole thing structured in our meditation from our children. And if the parents keep supporting it, talking about this picnic business, they are the holders of the meditation of our children. You can't expose them now to idiot business. You have to be protecting your children. So you expose them to the concept of a white man who will come with gifts and come through your keyhole and down your chimney. Ultimately, he remains lily white. And so you plant these seeds in the brain, mind of young black people. And the dependency syndrome takes root in an alien being called Santa. And then the society that governs advanced the Santa concept now into the salvation of your soul. And the imagery doesn't change. It's still a white male. This time he has 12 brethren around him. 12 men who will be fishers of men. So we have to take our breaks out of this rush into December to be broke in January and February. We have to find a way to break that cycle. Find a way to hold on to our resources. Make the merchants cry. Let them cry, because rather them cry more than you. Or some you see, because them have it already. What they cry about is that their profits have gone down, not that they are losing, you know. Their profits have declined. So black people need to be more money conscious and realize the power of investment. And investment is another name for the different savings. So let us see how much money you can save that you can invest by January. If I set yourself those type of targets, how much money you can save between now and the end of December that you can invest that come January. Because that's how you break the cycle, you know. You have a set of monies that become separate from the money that you're saving and the money that you're spending. Hold on to your money. Hold on to your energy, because your money is not money, it's your energy, you know. Europeans and Americans say time is money. But time is also energy. And so you have to begin to value your energy and begin to hold on to your energy. So that's why everybody who beg can't get, because you can't give your energy to everybody. You have to give it to energy where a point where you know so it's going to manifest itself into a more positive side. So I say to the one of them now, on the December coming up, hold on to your money. Hold on to your money and be ready to do some business come January. So we have to overcome the Christmas thing, this image of a salvation and the whole idea of a child being born in a manger in the winter. These stories have no reality within African tradition. So African people now have to come out of the manger. Have to come out of the illusion created by Macho. Because Macho captures the imagination now, you know, because him come with the Jesus story. We don't even know who Macho is. Not about the man. But his stories have captured the imagination of African people. So all you can say, 3 wise men coming through a desert. And you can say, who see them? So we have to wake up ourselves within this time. Because when you look around the globe, all races are coordinating themselves, are coming together under the banner of race first. And so African people, you can't hide behind being Jamaican. You can't hide behind being Negro. And you can't hide behind any religious identity. It's African identity. It must come up front. And you have to begin to embrace your black self and embrace blackness towards your own transformation and ultimately the liberation of a people. So it go. If I identify the alien forces that govern, and when you check it out, every black man have the right to rebel, you know. When we look at the last 2,000 years, every black man have the right to rebel. Rebel against Allah and against Jehovah. Because none of those forces have moved towards any form of liberation of black people. But those forces have overseen the destruction of black civilization. We have to let them go and return to the gods and the goddesses going about them work in some very serious ways. But it's just that the country have more armament than the police. So the violence thing now may require not just this attitude towards force and more force, but I keep suggesting that it requires a new type of structuring, the way how governance is administrated. And this island has been under a colonial type of structure from the 1800s. And this constitutional monarchy, that is the nature of the Jamaican government, it is grounded in a concept called centralization. And based upon the whole country evolved and how Jamaica was really about Kingston and St. Andrew as the center, it became the point of all power, political power, sporting power, all governments, all forms of governance came from the center. Center being in Kingston and later on Kingston and St. Andrew. But for the last 55 years, Jamaica has grown in quantum leaps and bounds. Unevenly, of course, but vastly expanded in all different kind of areas. Individuals and groups and so on have extended themselves. We reach a point now, I'm suggesting to the listeners that this type of governance is no longer able to manage a country. It doesn't matter now who are the personalities that become the governors. We're talking about that structural problem. So this centralization that from Kingston and St. Andrew can't manage things happening in Portland and things happening in St. Thomas and things happening in St. James and Westmoreland. It can't do it. It doesn't have the resources to sustain that. So we're talking about violence on the island now and these constant zones of special operation. The only way that zone thing can work in the island is that the whole island become one zone of special operation. And there's no, that's calling it military law, martial law, that. And there's no desire to really go in that direction. So we have to find a middle ground now between that extreme and this fudging that we're keeping up right now. And I will suggest the item again. So part of the restructuring of governance revolves around what we're calling the decentralization of the Jamaican government and the putting into power regional political centers. In other words, no, it is almost there in a certain framework. But let us look at something like licensing of motor vehicles. What would happen if we decide to register motor vehicles in the confederation that you live? So if you're a Western man, that is where the car is registered. It don't mean that the driver necessarily live there, but we know where the car has its ownership base. So we could be able to monitor and manage movement in a more organized way. Even things like the fire licensing agency, one should be in each confederation. And so we begin to have a better grip on what's happening in the whole island from centers that are more regional. And one of my listeners, Dee, even recommended that when it comes to policing, we could have police along the confederation lines, along the borders that separate the confederations. Each confederation could have their own type of police force. So we begin to build a different type of pride in our region. Since we lack the personal pride and we lack the individual pride broken down by the tribal politics. So there is a way out of this morass that the British have left. And we have a set of people controlling the political parliamentary system that are inefficient in delivering because the system wasn't set up to deliver nothing to the majority. It was always extracting things through the center. And that's what we need to arrest. That extraction of Jamaican resources and talent out through the center and the empowerment of regions. So the licensing is one thing where resources could be gathered within each confed. Serious thing. We have to think outside of the parliamentary structure. We have to think outside of Westminster. That is a box that people are into and they can't come out. So whether Rasta enter that box or whether Gavias enter that box, they would be unable to bring any support to the masses because the box wasn't constructed to support what's on the outside. The box is like an extractor. And from you going there, you join it. And you realize it's all about you and your family and the party and nothing to do with the people of the confederations. The metamorphosis still maintaining transition. A label called Nigger. You know, I'm on Hail Johnny Rep. Yes. Hail up to all former Titsfield ballers who helped to put the school on the map. And who vex how the legacy now has been wiped away by unprincipled leadership. So, that's not really the issue. So go on taking look more connects.
Still we irie, cause we no love likes. We no dance all style, and everybody a go like. Still we irie,
Alright,
cause we
so
no
come
love
again.
likes.
This whole identity issue now of calling a one somebody a nigger. And it's overpowered and it's almost heavily claimed in the music world. I even hear my offspring calling the niggers and they're calling the black women hoes. And you know word sound is power, you know. We have to begin to recognize again the power of word. The word in African tradition was the bond. Now a man say word don't mean nothing because I just same say it. So we have lost the value system behind our own thoughts. We don't value our thoughts anymore. So this idea now, I just understand say that America go through a little process where they ban even using the word. This is extreme. But that word now is the word that has a foundation in slavery. And the slavery was just not just a chattel slavery of black man, but in the psychological slavery of taking away the man's name, his racial identity, and replacing it with one called Negro. So the black people who were captured out of America, are captured out of Africa and brought into America. These black people now, after a couple decades, no longer saw themselves as Africans. They were so disconnected and uprooted that their consciousness now began to form in a place called North America. And they began to see themselves as Americans. And they were encouraged by the whites to see themselves as Americans, which would help shake away the African identity. So these American blacks, no, they weren't even called blacks yet. These American Negroes became the foundation identity of the African people, enslaved Africans in North America. Negroes. And the whole concept of the Negro, of course, comes from the Latin, which ultimately means a dead mind. So the Negro was a dead, walking, living dead. The Negro, the term, represents a zombie. So this zombie-like being is what the Europeans know, the white men in America will use to what them call build America. And there needs to be a waking up now from those who did the physical laboring, because physical laboring don't make you the owner. So the black man was a physical labor force to build America, but the black man is in a state of deception, thinking that because he was a builder, quote unquote, the slave, he is now the owner. Black man don't own nothing in America. And until the black man becomes that conscious, he will always be a slave to America. So this Negro construct, created by the Europeans, created by the white man, put on the African. And the Negro now was Christianized. So the dangerous African now was the Negro Christian. Because he was more committed to the cause of the white man than even the white man himself. It is this Negro Christian who would say, "We sick, boss," when the white man said he was sick. Malcolm X would call them field slaves. I say that they were Negro Christians. So these Negro Christians now in America were later on pushed to the brink of true consciousness, and they began to call themselves African Americans. So they could abandon the Negro, but call themselves now African Americans. It's the American part they're holding on to, you know. It's the most vital part in the identity. That part called American. And so the African American now would think that that is a higher level of respect in the title. But the youth and the generations always heard the way the white man would style the black man as a Negro and as a nigger. So the nigger became a sort of derivative of Negro. And it was still a word that was derogatory. In the same way, when they call the Indian man a coolie man, it's a derogatory term. So I don't understand now how is it today, 2017, with all the knowledge of ourselves and our history, that our people still embracing the concept of calling each other niggers and calling the black women hoes. It's a very dangerous thing, and they call it entertainment. And the white man just smiles because he realizes what happens when you degrade yourself through your identity. So we have to look into that carefully. Because the black man in America now, him is the only person in America who the white man can't deport. Him can't deport him because him don't claim nowhere else but America. So the white man just create the prison system and incarcerate him and set him up in the long prison stretches that he become a source of free labor in the same American capitalist system. So when the black man wake up out of that dream of being an American and see him African self, him going to take for himself. And once the black man start to take for himself out of America, it's the final blow, the final straw. And the continent awaits its creators and its owners. Metamorphosis. nobody across the waters yet. 954-338-7973. But if you listen, just keep the vibes, because sometimes you don't want to say nothing. You're afraid you might upset the cat. But the cat want to shake up long time. So, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. More with him.
Jah preserve my soul. And not tell me send the half I've never been tower wall. Jah preserve my soul. Prophecy have been revealed and the truth are unfold. Jah preserve my soul. So I read it in the novel and the book, them on the scroll. Jah preserve my soul. Infant get for sick, nourish, protect the whole. Some say again, what's happening? What's happening? It look like more growth them lacking in. What's happening? What's happening? More sell and damn by your eye sharpening. What's happening? What's happening? They are the day my pass the church, I don't hear no clapping in. What's happening? What's happening? It's an economical shocking. And that's why, then if survival is the key, then where is the supply? And that's why, less job and less food and more pressure that apply. And that's why, this financial constraint that show them now multiply. And that's why so many questions have been asked and still not get no reply. Is it the sign of the time or systematically them faking? Promise the people them and have the people waiting. But me see them now have nothing in
Yell
no
up,
making.
Tierney.
Me realize not even possible.
Yell up D, yell up Zone. Yell up the Facebook army who follow the metamorphosis. Yes, I are. We're hearing or reading the remarks. And there are all these various different ways that I and I can communicate. And we must use the medium. It's not a white man invention. It's a black man science. And we must begin to think about science, application, physics, mathematics, chemistry. No longer be fooled by the concept of science meaning something evil. That them trickery, you know. Them trickery and tell you that science is evil. But the science run the world. The science rule the world. And we have to regain the powers of scientific knowledge. So we start guessing about cause and effect. And we begin to know what our causes and what our effects. Because when you lack that ability to define cause and effect, everything now rests in the realm of superstition. Because you don't know. And you invent. So your thinking now becomes disturbed. Because watch me now, you have logical, practical thinking, you know. You also have crooked thinking. You have thinking that is based upon fantasy, imaginative thinking. So if I understand now the different levels of thinking and apply the powers that we have within our own brain. So the whole unlearning have to take place. Yeah, we have to unlearn the fear of Allah and unlearn the fear of Jehovah and Yahweh. We have to abandon those fears and come into the knowledge of the power of the self, the I, that divine center that's at the control of the brain and is a link with mind power. So it is the Almighty I now that helps you to exercise the will and desire to create action. So that's where we have to reach. It's all within. All within. The powers of the gods are within. And if you check it out, you know, the basic forces that govern the cosmos is fire, water, air, and earth. Those are the gods. And any combination is a serious force. Check it out. Water, fire, the air, and the earth. Yes, cornerstone, God powers. saying that the person didn't leave the name, but they're saying that they heard a woman on a program, and the woman said, and they put in quotes, until there is a successful black nation, the black man will always be disrespected. And I repeat that phrase. Person said, until there is a successful black nation, the black man will always be disrespected. Now, the way the size of Jamaica is of such that this could be the model and example, you know, of a successful black nation, you know. Yeah, Jamaica, the same way Haiti was a model of a successful, liberated state. Jamaica could be the model for a liberated state. But guess what happened now? The state is in a denial of its blackness. So Jamaica does not want to see itself as a black nation. Those who govern the planter class and those small racial groups, they're not into that black thing. They're not into that. They're not into the black thing. And that's why they're going to run with Marcus Garvey and run with Dr. Walter Rodney. Because they're not into the black thing. And it is this blackness that would give us a self-respect. Can you imagine if Jamaica was really a black nation? What would that look like? It would mean that the 96% of the population would have access to the land. That is the first sign of ownership, that the black people own the land. And you just see more industry from the people because they'll be working on their own behalf. No longer working for no background master. And the industry to break the back of poverty now, you know, is hemp. And that's why they don't talk about it. They're more distracted with medicinal ganja. And the real earning power to financial capital comes from industrialization of hemp. And so the state does not discuss that because that's what's going to give black people financial power. Break down the walls and the zinc fence of the ghettos and expand the population into the wider spaces of Jamaica. Is the hemp is the key. That's why there's a great amount of silence and a whole heap of subterfuge and confusion around medical ganja. Rastaman now fight for the medical ganja. Long time we know says medicine. We want to fight for an industry called hemp where we can own that industry and start create our own money. Because Rastafari don't afraid of money no more, you know. Bob come show us millions are there to be made. And money is a critical tool because within the Western society, money is the first requirement to accomplish all the other basic needs. So, like Ronga saw, St. Thomas and Portland could have organized themselves and create an industry of hemp. Yeah, right Ronga saw. The same idea of twinning the parish them, twinning the confederation them, and operate along an economic policy. So we'll wait for the central government whose interest is in the minority, why we can have a 5% population control 95% here. Why is it 10% of the world population control the next 90%? Because the 90% don't control no economic foundation. And the 90% lack wealth, which is them individuals' mental powers. So if we reclaim our mentality first, if we reclaim our African identity, reclaim our thought power, reclaim our connection to the mind. And so we can begin to talk about liberation and be doing it because the talk is talk. We need to be doing it and economics is the key. And we want the hemp industry, the Rastaman them and the musician them begin to invest their money into the hemp industry. A small factory to start with. And we'll start create ganja paper and create uniform, cloth for school. So whoop of things. But we have to come out of the King James version, that queer version of reality. Because remember, King James was a queer. And if we live a life out of the book authorized by a queer, it just describes the lifestyle that we're in. Metamorphosis. Rastaman always bring to the consciousness of the population the need to be natural and the powers of naturality, the earth and the fresh air, the power of fire. Recognize that sound is wind, and word is sound, and wind is power. So therefore word is sound power, word sound is power. And not only is the word sound power, but the liberty is powerful. And liberty speaks to what you take into your body, what we call food and drink. And how does it harmonize with your being, or does it contradict the being? I tell food, I tell drink, conscious music to feed the meditation. And the Rastaman had a look that was natural, because the Rastaman decided to abandon the European invention called the comb. And in that abandonment, the Rastaman took on the countenance of the Mau warriors, who were up front in opposition to white supremacist attempts in Britain, in Kenya, the Mau warriors. So the construction of the hair in that site of resistance, it wasn't born out of religion. It was born out of political struggle and resistance. So of course the state rejected that look because it wasn't comely, as they put it. In the 1970s, there's another attempt to resurrect consciousness through imagery. And so the Afro came to the front. Afro again is natural here. And Afro, of course, created a big swing in North America where black people became conscious again around the symbol of themselves, blackness. But then, of course, you know, it was polluted by, again, the European white man who began to talk, so him can grow Afro too. And that him have soul too. And all of our imagery was whitewashed. Well, in today's world now, in 2017, there was a contest called Miss Universe. And this is a contest that usually reflect the people who think they control the universe, which is white people. And so the imagery always projects Caucasoid features. Straight nose and long hair that's blowing in the wind, and thin lips and no hips, and them kind of look a thin white looking woman. But you see, this time, a black woman from Jamaica entered the competition. And she ended up in the top 5 and end up in the top 2 now. I go battle now for who supposed to be Miss Universe. Well, the long and short of it is that she runs second. But you ever see how she look? She have the sweetest afro imaginable. It's the most beautiful afro I ever see in a black woman for 10, 20, 30 years. This woman is called Davina Bennett. And what this woman has done now is break the ceiling of beauty, because it has shocked the entire competition to know that a woman would have that amount of self-confidence in her natural beauty. And when I tell you, say the woman beautiful enough, that is why it's hard for me to tell you, say a white woman can be beautiful, because the basics of beautiful standard have to be a black woman. So for the African man, the basic standard of beauty is a woman of melanin. A woman with a beautiful naturality. And if you ever see this woman here, you really, really recognize that we are gods and goddesses. And that we are ascendants of the gods and the goddesses. That we didn't descend from any monkeys and primates, as the Europeans claim they did. The Europeans say that they descended from the apes. I say, give it to them. I say, based upon the beauty of black woman, that the Africans ascended from the gods. Yeah, the woman is what a black woman should look like. If you have a time, chance, look at her. She's nice, Nice, naturally. Fort is just great. And Fortis is required for other schools to step up them standards. Yes, it's a standard bearer school. And congratulations to the Manning Cup team. Yeah, man, coming straight out of Iman Blak. First school, Melbourne. So, say no more. strong end because we not work for the weak. Critically now, re-establish partnerships where there is trust, so we can move our savings and our investments amongst ourselves. Because trust is lacking, That's why we have to go to banks. And we can't trust the bank, but we trust them. So we need to reorder that trust into each other. Trust yourself, that people can trust us individually, and we build a collective. So again, Metamorphosis, you can link me up if you want to get this program. I think that we ban this program because the music, them as I play, they might not really rate it as playable. So you can check on my website, www.imanblak.com, www.imanblak.com, and you'll be able to get them. Again, the program struggling a bit, need some sponsorship. And the sponsorship don't have to come from Jamaica now, All the man, they make the business in the Bronx and in Atlanta and California and New York. Yeah, they can put it together and check Styles FM. Because man and man need transportation and man need accommodations, basics. So